This is CBC Here and Now.
I think the most important thing, first of all, Anthony, is to apologize, whether it was recorded or not. I shouldn't have said those words.
Apology rejected. Perry Trimper resigns from cabinet. Good evening, I'm Anthony Germain. Widely regarded as one of the brightest members of Dwight Ball's team, Perry Trimper is out of the cabinet tonight, a political casualty of an accidental phone recording. Conversation filled with comments that the Innu Nation called racist. Trimper announced his resignation in a statement this afternoon, and that statement reads, in part, "I am extremely disappointed in myself and am truly sorry to the Innu people, residents of Lake Melville, and my colleagues." Trimper goes on to say, "I've decided to step back from my ministerial responsibilities as my focus must be on repairing relationships. This is the best decision." It's been a fast-moving story over the last 24 hours, one that Here and Now's Chris O'Neill-Yates has been on top of since she broke it late yesterday after speaking with Mr. Trimper, and she joins us live from our newsroom again tonight. So, Chris, what is Premier Dwight Ball saying?
Premier Dwight Ball today gave a press conference that no political leader really ever wants to have to give. This morning, Perry Trimper spoke to him and to cabinet and made his apologies personally. It's no secret that he was to be a bright light in cabinet, but those dreams of Dwight Ball's and his are dashed tonight. When he met us today, the Premier expressed just how sad he felt at all of this, of hearing the recording and all of this becoming public.
Disappointed. I mean, Perry, I look at his career, and that is not a side of Perry Trimper that I've ever seen. I've never seen it. As I mentioned in the, I think in the cabinet shuffle last week, I remember the walks that we've had. I remember drives that we've had. In past times, even before Perry was in government, he was just a quiet man who gave very good advice and had good conversations.
Bad conversations, though, that was caught on tape, and there were two people in that. What about the mystery voice in that conversation? Chris, do we have any information? Who was the woman that we heard talking to Trimper?
Well, the mystery voice, Anthony, still remains a mystery. Today in the press conference, we asked Premier Ball about that. What he did say was that he doesn't know who the person is, but he went on to assure us that it is not somebody who's in a position of power, management, policy making, or executive. And I asked him today, if in these times that people can get away with, no matter what level they're at, of keeping their jobs after something like this is said. And he said, well, it's only been 23 hours, it was at the time, and he's not ruling out disciplinary action, but says he doesn't know who the person is. Now, the people who've been hurt most by these comments have been the Innu. The person who got that message on his voicemail yesterday was Dominic Rich, and we reached him today.
And that's when this person would attend the community funerals, our feast, when our lowest points in our lives and the highest points of our lives. And people trusted this person. When you see this person, this individual, you felt, hey, this is the person who would help. And that's when last time I voted this person, because I have confidence in him. But my goodness, the last 48 hours is just, everything just went blank. What I heard, the contents on my voicemail.
And, Dominic Rich is shocked. All of the Innu Nation is shocked and angry, and they want some change to come about because of this. And they're saying things like people have to understand the life that that we live today. These things can't be said, and these kind of underlying attitudes have to be stamped out. Now, today we heard from opposition members. We heard from Chess Crosby, and as well we heard from Jim Dinn, and that's what they're questioning. Is this just a one-off? Perry Trimper said this, or is this something that needs to be looked at because it goes deeper down into the administration, into the civil service of government?
Is this just an isolated incident involving one cabinet minister, or is there a larger systemic problem involving racially tinged attitudes towards Indigenous peoples in Labrador?
I think to dismiss it would be wrong. To say that it shows that this is the case would be wrong, but I think right now this is a starting point, and we've got to start looking at within our own parties, within government, if indeed this is a systemic problem, and correct it.
Well, a busy, surprising 24 hours in politics in this province. Chris, what's next?
Well, we know that Perry Trimper stays in caucus. He's out of cabinet, but he stays in caucus. A new minister has been appointed. Dwight Ball said today that his diary is open for whenever the Innu want to meet. He says it's time to sit around the table to talk to them. He acknowledged that relations with Indigenous people in this province are not where he wants them to be. He wants to talk to the Innu about this particular issue, and says, you know, they're going to also look at things such as sensitivity training and, you know, just educating people about Indigenous issues. It's, as I said, not a matter he wanted to deal with, but, you know, there it is on his plate. A week ago, he was inaugurating or putting Perry Trimper into cabinet as a minister. A week later, Perry Trimper's career as a cabinet minister has been dashed.
All right, that's Chris O'Neill Yates. Thank you very much for reporting live from our newsroom. Well, Perry Trimper did not speak today. He did issue that resignation statement that Chris was telling you about. But as you heard, Dominic Rich of the Innu Nation, as you saw, he did weigh in. That and a recap of the entire Trimper story in about 25 minutes.
A little bit of a cool day for most of us as we walked out the door this morning, and you saw a little bit more frost as well. Corner Brook 2 degrees, Badger sitting at -1 as you left the house this morning. Happy Valley Goose Bay sitting at 3 degrees, and St. John's at 7. Now temperatures did recover for most of us through the day into the mid-teens. 11 degrees in St. John's, and we can thank a northerly wind for that. Now the good news is things are going to stay clear. The bad news is frost advisory is in place across the province. Now, I'll have all those details, what to expect as we head towards the weekend when I come back.
So this is the Torngat 1. It's the newest fishing boat here in Nain, and it's conducting an experimental scallop fishery, and they hope that that means big things for the fishing industry here in Nain.
An attempted murder trial in St. John's took an unusual turn today. Instead of continuing in the courtroom, the judge took it outside. Now that's Justice Vikas Kaladkar in a leather jacket and a baseball cap up on top of Ladies Lookout on Signal Hill earlier today. And this is where an Iranian international student allegedly tried to kill his roommate by throwing him off the cliff. The judge's decision to check out the site in the legal world is known as taking a view. Now, the technique is rarely used. Lawyers, even the accused, joined the judge on the hike. Kaladkar will be back in his robes on Monday morning when the trial returns to the courtroom. The provincial government is facing another lawsuit tonight involving the death of an inmate. This time, it's the family of Doug Neary. They claim that prison officials and guards are to blame for the man's suicide. Neary died in Her Majesty's Penitentiary in August of 2017. The first of 4 people to die within a year at a provincial correctional facility. Ariana Kellen has more.
Doug Neary had never been to jail before, never had a criminal record or conviction, a first-timer. According to a lawsuit filed late last month, Neary's family blames the 37-year-old's death on his stay in HMP.
They're absolutely devastated. They're still dealing with it, they're still reeling from it, and all of the family are questioning how this could happen.
Neary had told a Waterford hospital nurse he had depression and bipolar disorder. Then on August 31st, 2017, while in the penitentiary, he hung a bedsheet up in his cell. Correctional officers later found him dead. According to a statement of claim, the death was a result of an antiquated facility with practices from the Dark Ages and correctional officers who took advantage of a scared man with 0 jail experience.
They demeaned him, they treated him very improperly, they terrorized him, and that in essence we're saying, look, in some essence, what they did contributed to the decisions he made.
That, Buckingham says, speaks to a lack of training, understanding, and poor management, something a new prison won't fix. There have been reports, rallies, recommendations, and unfulfilled promises before.
The Gesso report was not worth the money that it was printed on. But I'll tell you that our lawsuit is not going to be of that quality, and that we will delve into each and every aspect of, with respect to our client, as to what happened at the penitentiary.
But will this lawsuit be the catalyst for change?
We're not going to have reports which just sit on shelves. We're going to ask judges to make rulings. We're going to ask judges to give judgments. We're going to ask judges to award costs and damages.
Costs and damages, not just for the Neary family, but for Sky Martins too. And it's expected more lawsuits are to come.
Regardless of this lawsuit, it's not going to bring Mr. Neary back, who, was a productive member of our society, was a good father, was a good husband, needed help, and fell between the cracks in the most horrendous way possible in our system, and in an institution that's supposed to care for him and to make sure that he got out of there alive, and he did not.
Ariana Kellen, CBC News, St. John's.
A section of the Trans-Canada Highway is being shut down shortly, in about 20 minutes to be exact, to replace a massive 30-year-old culvert. Now, for several days, there have been lane reductions, both east and westbound near Avondale, but that road is going to be completely closed starting at 6:30 Island time. Traffic is going to be rerouted through Salmonier Line, the Conception Bay South Highway, and the Avondale Access Road. And that highway is expected to reopen next Tuesday, but traffic is going to be reduced to one lane in both directions. A new exploratory fishing vessel is looking to breathe life into Nain's fishery. The Torngat Fish Cooperative bought the vessel to go after whelk and scallop stocks. Now, up until 2008, there actually was a viable scallop fishery near Nain, but diving prices brought that to an end. And now the scallop market apparently has improved, and there is an active overseas market, not just for scallops, but also for whelk. Here now's Jacob Barker was there when the boat entered northern waters for the very first time.
The Torngat 1 is getting hitched up and moved into northern waters. A new exploratory boat trying to revive an old catch.
And you do have a good scallop resource. You've fished that in the 1990s up until I think it was 2007, 2008.
The market for scallop at that time wasn't good. Today, it's back in style. This ship is out to reprove the stock.
I'm 100% confident that there's commercial volumes of scallop. That's no question.
Along with another shellfish, whelk, especially popular right now in Asian markets.
Yeah, the whelk is going to take a little bit more time to develop, and we need to look at the areas and find more quantities than we have to date.
It's hoped the work they're doing will reignite the industry on the north coast.
There's a lot of scallop there. We know it that much. It's just a matter of getting the right boat and catching it. Right? I hope this is it.
In recent years, the staple catch in the region hasn't been doing so well.
It's trying to get into different things besides char. Right? Catches are getting lower and lower every year. Yeah. Less fishermen.
The price Martin Anderson is getting is higher, but he's only catching about half the char he used to get.
I was born into this. I'm sort of used to it. I grew up in a boat and grew up with my brothers and my grandfather fishing, and so this is really what I want to do, right?
The revival of scallop and whelk fisheries could mean incentive to get young people into the industry.
These kids nowadays on their phones and it's just a little different things. But if you get them excited enough, I guess, that might work. Yeah.
And more work for those on shore.
That's what we need here, no? Especially with a fish plant. We got such a big plant and nothing going on, right?
In the past, before we used to work every week, like there was a lot of scallops back then. I mean, it's good to see the boat here and maybe a little bit work anyway.
Well, the Torngat 1 will spend the rest of this season exploring in Nain. The plan is for the boat to explore other communities in Nunatsiavut in search of scallops and whelk and a stronger fishing industry on the north coast of Labrador. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Nain.
Just to follow that story, to a story we had on last night, the gamble paid off in Little Bay. Only one person drew the ace, but there was in the end a community of winners. Here now's Katie Breen has this update from Central.
Little Bay, big crowd. Only about 100 people live here, but 10 times that came out to chase the ace last night.
Did you ever think you'd have 1,060 people in Little Bay?
Never, 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 never. When the mines was here, but not since I've been here. And I'm 52, so I've never seen it.
The lines got bigger and bigger every week.
Hi, $10 worth, please.
People filled the main room, the overflow space in the garage, everyone eagerly waiting for this.
The number is 069467.
You wouldn't know there was a match. There was no big scream. People were still checking their tickets when Jamie Oxford came up.
Come on, Jimmy. Okay.
Nearly $50,000 richer and in total shock. He'd been driving in from Springdale every Thursday for the last couple of months, 20 minutes away, but he'd never thought he'd be the one.
I don't know what to think. I can't believe it.
What are you going to do with the money?
I'm going to buy a new Skidoo.
But he wasn't the only winner. Shauna Hewlett won nearly $9,000 on a 50-50 ticket.
It's my first time ever in Little Bay, so I think it's a beautiful place, and this helps. But it was good to see the Ace go tonight too, and I think that Little Bay's done a great job organizing this, and congrats to all the organizers, and congrats to Little Bay Fire Department.
Money for new gear, maybe some matching suits, boots that don't leak, and a new truck. The department just got rid of the rusted-out 1983 Chev pickup it was using. It took the 36-year-old equipment off the back and put it on a newer donated truck. But with more than $100,000 raised, they're hoping they can buy another vehicle with its own water supply, because some homes don't have hydrants nearby.
Yeah, it's a big boost in the arm for us. I mean, we're used to fundraisers raising $1,000 a day, and that was a good fundraiser. I mean, what we've made over the last 45 weeks, it's been fantastic. I mean, we'll never top this one again.
The chief says the gamble paid off. Little Bay can sleep a little easier knowing that money will go towards keeping its homes and volunteer firefighters safe. Katie Breen, CBC News, Little Bay.
Well, earlier this week, 3 candidates running in St. John's East discussed their differences with me on Here and Now. In a few minutes, meet the Green Party's candidate. Well, it was a pretty nice day here on the Avalon, right? But not exactly swim weather, unless, of course, you are a teacher. Take a look at what some students got up to today. Part of their welcome back activities this week, Prince of Wales Collegiate, that's always satisfying, held a dunk tank over the lunch hour.
Yeah, teachers and students got to show off their good nature side. As you can see, some of those teens are pretty good shots.
Yeah, I think when you're, especially if it's your math teacher.
I loved my math teacher.
But there's nothing more satisfying than dunking the math teacher, don't you think?
Fair enough, okay.
Okay, there you go. I see another guy there standing in the back.
Hopefully that was warm water.
Looks pretty good, though. Not a bad day for it. Kabunk. Another happy customer.
Awesome.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Not too cold.
Well, it's
until you get out.
Until you get outside. Yeah, until you get outside or out of the dunk tank, I guess. But it did have a little bit of a chill. There was a little bit of bite here. The wind didn't help that situation at all. We'll take a look at the temperatures. Only reaching 11 degrees in St. John's today. Otherwise, we sat in the teens for most of us, the mid-teens. Twillingate at 12 degrees, and same thing for Lab City. Those temperatures have dropped just a little bit, currently sitting at 10 degrees in St. John's, but staying in those teens, even up through Labrador. So not a bad afternoon for sure. Those winds, though, that's why we saw or are seeing these cooler temperatures, generally northerly, sustained right now at about 19 kilometers per hour. Those winds will stay around there as we head through the night tonight. And we can see that onshore flow by the satellite and radar here. Just a few pockets of showers with some of that cloud cover this afternoon. Otherwise, an absolutely gorgeous day for most of the island. And as we head through the night tonight, you can see that clearing trend already happening. It's going to continue as we head through the overnight. Those winds are going to ease as well, which is why eastern Newfoundland now and the Avalon are in that frost advisory. So pretty much across the board, except for the northern peninsula, you're out of it tonight, but any low-lying areas will likely see some frost developing. And with those clear skies, there is the harvest moon is tonight, the full moon, and it's actually a micro moon. So we always talk about the super moon where it appears larger. This one's actually going to appear smaller, about 30% smaller, and also a little less bright than we're normally seeing. But because we are seeing those clear skies, you're certainly going to be able to see it. 6 degrees for St. John's tonight. Again, those northerly winds 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. Otherwise, those low-lying areas likely dipping into the single digits. Corner Brook down to 3 degrees. St. Anthony at 7. And up through Labrador, those single digits as well. 9 degrees for Nain. So actually quite a mild night for you, but you're going to stay cloudy. And Lab City sitting at 4 degrees overnight tonight. Now, tomorrow, not a whole lot happening for the island. Should stay clear as a ridge of high pressure dominates. But up for the big land, you're looking at some increasing cloud through the day. Certainly some showers for Lab West. And then heading towards the coast as well, you'll start to see some increasing cloud with this system. And those temperatures are going to stay quite steady. Now, as we head through late day, we'll start to see some cloud cover move in for the island, and along the west coast by the early morning hours, we'll likely see some showers as well. First half of the day, though, looking absolutely gorgeous for most areas. 15 degrees, so a little warmer today for St. John's. 18 for Clarenville, likely reaching those similar temperatures in through Central Harbour Breton, 17 degrees as well. And then towards the coast, sunshine to start. Increasing cloud with showers by morning. 16 degrees for Gross Mourne, 18 for Corner Brook. And then up through St. Anthony, a beautiful day, 17 degrees, plenty of sunshine. And same for southeastern Labrador as well. Cartwright sitting at 16 tomorrow. Again, you're going to see that cloud increase. Going to hang on to these cooler temperatures for you for Lab City. That's what's on the way as we head towards the Sunday and even Monday for parts of the island and the coastal Labrador. But I'll have all those details coming up.
Thanks a lot, Ashley. Nice outside the CBC right now. Well, this week on Here and Now, we met the candidates from St. John's East, but for communications reasons that I won't go into, we did not have the candidate from the Green Party. Well, there is a candidate from the Green Party. David Peters, welcome to Here and Now.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Good to be here.
So why do you want to run in St. John's East?
Well, I'm honored to be the Green candidate in St. John's East, as I was in 2015. Very proud to be a part of a very exciting team of candidates this time around.
Yeah, as you know, it's pretty competitive riding. It swung Liberal last time, 500 vote difference. Do you think the Green Party has any chance of doing anything? Because we don't see the same popularity for the Green Party here in Newfoundland and Labrador as we see in New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island.
Well, I wouldn't be running if I wouldn't take the job. I'd love to take Nick Whalen's job. We plan to do a lot better this time around. We've got a provincial party starting up as well, which is really exciting, which has some differences and some similarities to the federal party. But we want to bring the green message to St. John's East and all across the province of Newfoundland and Labrador because we believe that we're on the right side of history.
You know, with respect to the views that people have about greens and the seal hunt, the predominance of the oil industry in this province, is the green really a political fit here?
It really is because we signed an obligatory treaty in Paris to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 45% by 2030. We can continue growing the oil industry in Newfoundland and Labrador, but that means we're going to have to do a lot of other things to meet that obligation. So we've got a comprehensive plan in the Green Party of Canada to get us there, which includes continuing the Newfoundland offshore, but sunsetting it. You know, petroleum is not something we can continue to do. The other parties just make sort of general statements that, yeah, we have to be sustainable, we have to be, doing things green, but they don't have a plan. We have a plan.
All right. Last question for you has to do with the actual campaign. Elizabeth May has been a very strong leader. She's under much more scrutiny now. Somehow, instead of talking about the environment, we're talking about whether we should reopen the abortion debate. You got another candidate who says that Quebec should separate. Is her campaign imploding early?
Absolutely not. We're a Democratic Party. I can say with absolute confidence that within the membership of the Green Party of Canada, the support for a woman's right to choose is 99.999%. But we are a Democratic Party. People are free to dissent like I do on the issue of the seal hunt. I wrote in my nomination documentation that I support the Newfoundland commercial seal hunt. I'm free to do that. We are a Democratic Party.
Okay, listen, David, I'm glad we could get you on here now this week, and no doubt we'll be seeing you again. Good luck in the campaign.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
It was definitely wet. It was cold. We didn't sleep much, but I think it's going to be well worth it in the end. So
they waited all night, a long lineup in Paradise with one thing in mind, scoring freebies to see their beloved Toronto Maple Leafs on the ice in Paradise. The details in about 10 minutes. Welcome back. Let's get right to our top story this evening. The fallout from Perry Trimper's phone message, a recording that has infuriated the Innu Nation and cost Trimper his cabinet job. The Premier has announced that Derek Bragg, the MHA for Fogo Island Cape Friels, will take over as Municipal Affairs and Environment Minister. He's being sworn in this evening. Big promotion from the back benches for Bragg, all because of Perry Trimper's comments. Comments that continue to generate strong reaction.
They certainly won't think the same way we do. Well, they have a feeling of entitlement. Yeah, and the race card comes up all the time. Oh, man, don't play that all day. I've been 32 years working with you guys. Don't play that all day. We're waiting for the Innu inquiry then.
That, of course, is Lake Melville MHA Perry Trimper speaking with an unknown woman, and that recording was captured earlier this week when Trimper was leaving a voicemail message for Dominic Rich with the Innu Nation. Now, Trimper thought that he had hung up. The now former cabinet minister resigned this afternoon. Dominic Rich is also weighing in on the matter today. I spoke with an apologetic Perry Trimper last night as he was hanging on to his cabinet job.
I felt so alone, so small, that the world and this person and the interactions that we had with this person for the last 30 years just crumbled. And my mind was racing. I felt so betrayed and so hurt, deeply ingrained in me. My spirituality was just bankrupt for that moment. Total darkness. That's how I felt when I listened to it.
I'd like to apologize to Mr. Rich. I'd like to apologize to the Innu of Labrador and to the people of Lake Melville. Those comments, it's not the Perry Trimper that I work hard at, and I've drifted away from that.
This person would attend the community funerals, our feast, when our lowest points in our lives and the highest points of our lives. And people trusted this person. When you see this person, this individual, you felt, hey, this is the person who would help. And that's when last time I voted this person, because I have confidence in him. But my goodness, the last 48 hours is just, everything just went blank. What I heard, the contents on my voicemail.
There are, on occasion, the accusation that I've somehow, I don't support the Innu and so on. And that's what my context for the remarks, the 32 years was, folks, I've got 32 years demonstrating my commitment to these people. So please don't accuse me of being racist. That was the context for that.
The ripple effect of those contents, those words, and the demonstration of that racism, remarks and statements, has a tremendous impact to the Innu and the First Nations.
I think the most important thing, first of all, Anthony, is to apologize, which is what I wanted to do. And I thank CBC and I thank you for the opportunity to be here to do that. I feel I've made a mistake. And as I said, I've drifted away from who I value in myself. And the best thing to do is to come clean. And whether it was recorded or not, I shouldn't have said those words. Right.
They certainly won't think the same way we do. Well, they have a feeling of entitlement.
That female voice, not just Mr. Trimper said those were God-given rights, a race card, but that lady also said, if you listen to it very carefully, about the inquiry, this person have the same views and mentality and the spiritual and emotional and psychological mentality as Mr. Trimper. So when that person was working and you go there and the Innu person goes there and asks for service, imagine what are the possibilities that could happen.
It's quite the political story, and a reminder, with Mr. Trimper leaving, Derek Bragg is going to take over and join Dwight Ball's cabinet. He'll be sworn in this evening at Government House. Shifting to sports, Maple Leafs mania is gripping the Avalon as the NHL team opened its training camp today, signaling the start of another season. But this year, all the on-ice action kicks off in this province. And here now is Malone Mullen with that story.
You're looking at about 700 die-hard hockey lovers, and even though it feels like we're in Toronto, we're not. This is paradise, where the Maple Leafs are training and the up-and-comers are vying for a spot on the bench. But it's not about them. This is about the fans. They lined up, some overnight, to be the first to nab a ticket. And this isn't even a real NHL game. It's training camp, a practice and scrimmage for about 70 players, some of them not even yet on the team. So why all the excitement?
Yeah, I'm a diehard Leaf fan. This is to have it happening in Newfoundland. This is awesome, right? This is what it's all about.
Did you ever think you'd see this?
No, I'm 40 years old and I feel like I'm 10.
The Leafs were last in town in the olden days when Matt Sundin was at the helm. But this is a new team with new faces, having new experiences. What do you make of the fans here?
Oh, they're great. Really nice group of people. I'm still trying to understand like the accents and stuff, but it's going to take me a little time. But I got some. We got some practice in learning from our one of our equipment managers is from here, so he's teaching us some different lines and sayings to get used to.
Like what?
Something like the nippers, because like the mosquitoes or something like that. Like the nippers are out, the mosquitoes are out. I thought it was something else, but.
If they don't have too much fun on George Street or on a whale watching tour, the preseason club is slated to play Ottawa at the Mile 1 Centre on Tuesday, perhaps stoking the flames of an old rivalry that not many can forget. What do you guys think of my jersey?
It's great.
Despite the disappointments of last year and the year before and the year before, the legacy of the team, stretching back to the days of the baby Leafs, lives on here, being passed down to future generations. And at this little arena, where superstars have descended for the weekend, it's clear Newfoundland loves its Leafs.
Go Leafs, go!
Malone Mullen, CBC News, Paradise.
Just remind me to talk to Ms. Mullen about being neutral as a reporter, especially if you happen to be a Sens fan. Well, staying with hockey, a long-standing tradition has brought former members of the men's national hockey team to town. Local hockey legend George Faulkner is playing host for this year's reunion. Here now Cecil Hare with that story.
Who is this guy here? Is this our driver here? Are you?
George Faulkner, honorary host of this reunion, is touring his hockey family around St. John's.
You gotta get the back end of it. Oh yeah, who set the right angle?
They've been getting together like this for decades, players and their wives, along with associates of Canada's national hockey program. They've been representing this country in international tournaments since 1964, and every few years they reunite in different cities across Canada to share stories about old times.
It's all a wonderful experience we went through, and it's and part of being here these few days is kind of reliving those memories type of thing, and so it's wonderful to get together.
Talk about the good old times and the good times that we're still having.
Faulkner played with Canada's national team in '66. That year, the World Championship tournament was held in Yugoslavia. Faulkner scored Canada's first goal in that tournament on his first shift. They won bronze that year, and he led the national team in scoring in that tournament with 6 goals and 1 assist in 7 games. He's remembered for his formidable presence, both on and off the ice.
George was a hell of a hockey player. You know, George added stability. He was senior, and a lot of those guys were pretty young still. And so he brought a real balance. And again, he could play.
Faulkner of Bishop's Falls is the first professional hockey player from this province. He's now 85 and says he's played his last game.
I played this year, yeah, but my knee is giving me problems, and I can't do anything like I used to, and I get frustrated. So I think after 75 years, I'm going to give it up.
Are you? You're not going back in the fall? Or?
No, I don't think so. No, I can't do anything. You know, I can't. No balance.
No balance.
I can't skate on one leg.
And while he's given up the game, Faulkner says when it comes to these reunions, he'll continue showing up, game face on, as long as he can. Cease Hare, CBC News, St. John's.
Young, determined, and full of muscles. We're taking you to the Eastern Canadian Powerlifting Championships next. Welcome back. A young woman from Gander set a national powerlifting record today at the Eastern Canadian Powerlifting Championships in St. John's. 17-year-old Madison Collins is among hundreds of athletes who have gathered for a full week of competition. Here's our Zach Gowdy.
For many of these young women, this is their first time stepping out of the gym and onto the big stage. It's all a bit heavy.
It's crazy. You prep so much and then everything is put into literally one moment, like this few seconds. There's nothing, I don't know, there's nothing more joyful than that.
The hype is insane. I think that's what makes me lift the weight, honestly, is the crowd and the commentators just hyping you up and you're like, okay, I can do this.
The Eastern Canadian Powerlifting Championship began this morning in St. John's. The two-day event rolls right into another big competition, the Commonwealth Open, which kicks off on Monday. Dozens of athletes from this province are featured in both events, and these days, more and more of those heavy lifters are women.
So right now in the province, we have about 50% ladies, which a lot of people might think that's not traditional. But the sport has grown, the gyms all have it now, and I think that has certainly helped us grow as a sport, and certainly bodes well for the future. And we have our young ladies here today.
One of those young ladies is 17-year-old Madison Collins from Gander, whose family was in the front row.
She's so strong, and mentally, physically, she's just an all-around good competitor in everything she does.
What's it like for you guys here watching her lift today?
My nerves are gone right about now. She's going for a national record now soon.
This is a gold medal pro and a national record. She wants all the marbles.
With the crowd cheering on, Collins attempted to lift 150.5 kilos. That's more than 330 pounds. And she nailed it.
It's amazing. It's just the best feeling to be able to hold the weight in your hands and pull heavy weight, and it just makes you feel so good about yourself. Really good for self-confidence.
You can check out the action at the Holiday Inn in St. John's. Zach Gowdy, CBC News, St. John's.
Pretty good day on the Avalon. Live shot outside our studio. The question is, how long is the sunshine going to hang around? Ashley knows. I hope she knows. She'll share that in just a couple of minutes. Weekend plans. Hope not too many people stopped that traffic construction near Avondale, but a lot of people planning to head hither and yon over the weekend.
Yeah, and it doesn't look too bad. Good. Not on Saturday anyway. We'll take a quick look at that forecast yet again. Temperatures in the mid to high teens across the board. Plenty of sunshine as well. A little breezy though. Northerly winds about 20 kilometers per hour, and then on the west coast you're looking at west-southwesterlies, 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. So not too bad as far as the big land goes. 9 degrees for Lab City. You're going to see showers. Same for Churchill Falls. That's going to come in the morning, and then the cloud cover will continue to spread towards the coast as we head into the evening hours. But overall, you're looking at temperatures in the teens, 16 degrees for Happy Valley Goose Bay, 9 sitting at 12. Now, that is the next weather maker. So once those showers do eventually make their way towards the west coast by Sunday morning, we should start to see some cloud cover filter a little bit further east as well, staying unsettled up through Labrador through the day. And there's those showers. So generally showing west and south coast for most of the day. And then as we head towards the evening hours, we'll start to see those showers spread a little bit further east. So we'll likely see that for the Avalon and then parts of Central as well. And it does look like Monday is going to stay quite gray and rainy for essentially the entire province. So here's a look at your Sunday forecast. Temperatures are going to dip a little bit along the coast where that rain will fall, 16 degrees for Corner Brook. And then eventually we will get into those 20-degree range for Grand Falls, Windsor. It looks like Gander 19, St. John sitting at 17 degrees with plenty of sunshine through the day. So beautiful the further east you go. 12 degrees for Happy Valley Goose Bay. Nain, you notice that temperature drop only reaching 6 degrees, and we can thank that onshore wind for that. Cartwright sitting at 11, and Lab City sitting at 11 degrees as well. Over the next couple of days, there is a little bit of a cool down as we head towards next week, but into Monday, and when we get gray skies and rainy, it looks like right through Wednesday. Look at that temperature overnight dipping into those single digits again. 9 degrees it looks like as the afternoon high for Wednesday. For central Newfoundland, you're looking at temperatures around 18 to 20 degrees for the weekend. Again, that rain will move in late day, continue through Tuesday. It looks like Wednesday looks beautiful though with 10 degrees, but your overnight low, 0 degrees. Western Newfoundland, teens right through Monday. Tuesday's when we're going to dip back down again, 10 degrees, 9 for your Wednesday, and then up through Labrador. Sunshine or at least some increasing cloud tomorrow, rain through Tuesday, and then we should see that sun peak right back out Tuesday afternoon or late day into Wednesday at 10 degrees. And then for Western Labrador, 9 to 11 degrees this weekend, dipping back down into those single digits, overnight lows flirting with the 0 degree mark again. So let's look at your forecast. I'll have your weather photo coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. In national news tonight, a senior civilian member of the RCMP has been arrested and charged under both the Criminal Code and the Security of Information Act. After a brief court appearance in Ottawa by video link this afternoon, he was returned to custody, but the prosecution offered few details.
In broad strokes, the allegations are that he obtained, stored, processed sensitive information, we believe with the intent to communicate it to people that he shouldn't be communicating it to.
Cameron Ortis played a role at the top levels of national security operations and was an advisor to the government for more than a decade. He is described as having expertise in East Asian affairs and critical infrastructure. Multiple federal departments are now reviewing their files for damage assessments. Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale says Canadians can still have confidence in security and intelligence agencies.
I want to know where you too. This great shot was taken this morning. Calm, clear, beautiful sunrise. I'll tell you where this is too when we come back.
Time to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. Happy 93rd birthday 2 days ago to Dorothy Pryor, formerly of Grand Bank and now in Paradise. And a happy 90th birthday as well this Sunday to Estelle Lambswood from Topsail. Happy 90th birthday yesterday to Cora Perry. Cora's originally from Bay Largent, now in CBS. And a happy 100th birthday to Mabel Kirby, who also celebrated yesterday. Happy 96th birthday to Ronald Torreville, who celebrates his special day today.
Happy 90th birthday to Eric Saunders. He celebrated on Tuesday. Happy 50th anniversary to Norman and Dorothy Slade. The big day was on Wednesday. Also a 50th anniversary Wednesday for Melvin and Pauline Saunders from Shearstown. Congratulations. Happy 65th wedding anniversary to Mary and Kevin McDonald. Winston and Geraldine Howell of St. John's are celebrating their 50th anniversary today.
And a happy 61st anniversary to Ernest and Elizabeth Wheeler of Mount Pearl. They celebrated on the 10th. And Eileen and Larry Wells of Musgrave Town, they celebrated their 60th anniversary on Wednesday. Happy anniversary to Margaret and Stan Kellaway in Corner Brook, who celebrate their 65th anniversary this coming Sunday. And 60th wedding anniversary greetings to Ralph and Olive Tetford in Lawrencetown. A happy 73rd anniversary next Tuesday, the 17th, to Gordon and Marie Lannon in Bishops Falls.
Happy 50th anniversary to Job and Myra Blackwood of Paradise. And best wishes to Bob and Marg Shepherd, who celebrated their 55th wedding anniversary yesterday. Happy 90th birthday tomorrow to Eileen Deschamps from Corner Brook. Also tomorrow, Isabel McKinnon turns 95. This picture was taken a couple of weeks ago. George Street will never be the same again. Happy 96th birthday to Pearl McDonald in Hermitage.
And a happy 56th anniversary to Gerald and Rosie Fudge in Ramia. They celebrated on the 10th. Happy 50th anniversary to Felix and Millicent Cody in Marystown. Also 50th wedding anniversary greetings to Leslie and Ruby Legg in Gander. And a happy 91st birthday greeting to Teresa Fifield. Her birthday's today. And Mary Follett in Corner Brook celebrates her 93rd birthday, or celebrated rather, on Wednesday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to Douglas Pearl in Sandy Cove. He celebrated last Saturday. And next Wednesday, it'll be a happy 99th birthday to Merle Berkshire of Elliott's Cove, Random Island. Mildred Corbett in Stephenville Crossing turns 91 on Monday. And happy birthday to Roy Sansom of St. John's, who turned 92 on Wednesday. A happy 54th anniversary to Ivan and Glenda Penny in Milton. And Minnie Sturge in Valleyfield celebrated her 91st birthday last Saturday. On the 10th, it was a happy 93rd birthday for Bert Paddock. Congratulations, everyone. We're going to end the show on a sad note for this Friday. Some news today. A publicist for Eddie Money says the rock star had died after he recently announced that he had stage 4 esophageal cancer. A statement from the family says Money died peacefully this morning in Los Angeles. The husky-voiced blue-collar performer was known for such hits as 2 Tickets to Paradise and Take Me Home Tonight. He announced his cancer diagnosis on video last month. Eddie Money was 70 years old. Yeah, sad. Lots of fans back in the day with the huge hits.
Yeah, definitely know those songs.
All right, let's lift people's spirits up after that. You got a great photo for us.
We do have a beautiful weather photo today. This photo, as I was saying, was taken this morning, and it was taken in Glovertown.
Ah, beautiful Glovertown.
Glovertown, love it. Such a great shot. Thank you so much for sending that in, Jeff Oak.
I should have guessed that.
Why? You know that area?
Yeah, I do. I can see it now. Great kayaking there.
Oh,
nice
yeah?
and safe.
Well, I mean, with water like that,
yeah,
can't go wrong.
It's not often like that.
No. No, if you have any weather photos that you'd like to take, or send us, rather, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
And if you're leaving St. John's to head to Glovertown or anywhere else, don't forget at Avondale, take a deep breath.
Yep.
Bit of construction there and rerouting. Have yourselves a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
Good night.